what city is the worst to perform comedy? Europe?
I want to get booked. Coming to Europe was amazing because nobody has any idea what the they're doing. And it was like, I think there's a difference between like, what do you consider shitty? There's a 10-year-old right there.
You can sing.
Yes.
Are you happy with that?
I think so, I guess. I'm not unhappy.
You look happy.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Deki, and this show introduces you to the world's finest comedians, as known as any European comedians. This is fantastic comedians of Europe, and I'm today with
Steph DePrez.
How long are you doing comedy?
Since 2015.
Are you happy with that?
I think so, I guess. I'm not unhappy.
You look happy.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could make so much more money, but but I really like comedy, like in general. Yes, it's a very nice thing to be doing with my life. So I used to teach high school
Where
music,
was it?
Los Angeles.
Wow.
So I went to UCLA for grad school for opera. What? And then at the same time, I did the Groundlings, which is like the comedy training school in LA. And then I also took classes for sketch writing at Upright Citizens Brigade.
You're probably the most comedy educated person I've met.
Yes, I am.
Yes, well, I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know where that sets the bar. And so that was also like in LA with people in LA who are like trying to be actors, and everybody's sort of like, promoting themselves, and it's a very interesting space, which is why coming to Europe was like amazing because nobody has any idea what the fuck they're doing. And it was like coming here sudden, like I started in Vienna, I moved there, I was teaching at an education university there.
What did you teach?
English. But the reason I was there was I was there on a Fulbright to teach English and study with this wonderful opera singer.
Yeah.
So I was teaching at the Pädagogische Hochschule Niederösterreich for future primary school teachers of Austria how to teach English to 10-year-olds. And at the same time, I was studying with a fantastic soprano voice teacher. And so that was that. And while I was doing that, I was sort of doing comedy. And then came the pandemic, and all opera shut down hardcore, but you could still find a comedy show here and there.
Yeah.
So that's when I went full into like, I'm going to do this all the time.
You were studying to be a
I was
singer.
studying opera, yes, to sing. Yes.
You can sing.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, if you've ever seen me, that's my shtick. Like, that's what the comedy is. It is about being an opera singer, and I sing. Like, that's the, everybody has their, what are you sort of bringing on stage when you show up as a comedian? Like, what makes you unique? Why should people listen to you? And for me, it's that I am
it's not a joke. You are for real an opera singer.
Yes.
Because a lot of comedians start in Europe, they want to move to the United States at some point, and you did the opposite thing.
Yeah, yes. Well, now I'm actually doing more stand-up comedy than I am singing, which is very not what I expected. But I really love it here because I go home, and I lived in LA for 7 years, but I am from Denver. And I go home and I did shows in Denver, and it's just a different, because stand-up comedy is such a part of...
What is it? Give me an example. What is different?
So in the US, stand-up comedy is normal.
Yeah.
Like, it's in every town, everybody does it, everybody watches it. It's part of the culture. And because of that, there's a lot of different sort of expectations, and there's also sort of set rules for what you can do and what you can try. And what it turns into is a lot of people talk about the same things over and over and over. Like, when I was doing comedy in Los Angeles in like 2015 to 2018, every single joke was about being unemployed and being on Tinder and everybody's day job.
Relatable, yeah.
Because it's a bunch of actors and they're all figuring out how to be funny, and so they're going to talk about the things that everybody else can relate to.
Sure.
And it was just it was the same thing over and over and over. And then I come to Europe, and you have someone being like, I'm from Ukraine and I'm going to make jokes about the fact that, like, I don't know if my, like, I don't know what's going on at home in a way that's going to give me more insight into what's going on in Ukraine than news ever will. Or you have someone, someone coming from Jordan or Lebanon and, like, a woman making jokes about what it's like to be a Middle Eastern woman in Berlin. And, like, oh, that's shit I would never hear about on stage in the United States.
So European comedy is more melting pot than
I love it. Yes,
American one.
You will learn more about global politics in 2 hours at a Berlin open mic than you will ever read in Deutsche Welle or the BBC. And I love that. Like, there's so much, like, people, the idea of who are you on stage? Who do you bring on stage?
I never thought how privileged I am.
Yeah, it's really fucking cool. And so when people come to Berlin and they're like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna come see you in a show. I'm like, yes, you're obviously gonna come, like, see me or a friend who you're visiting in a show, but also you're gonna learn so much about about gender, about geopolitics, about class, about how people from other, we've comedians here from China, and, like, it's so cool to do comedy without this sort of set American standard of, and then you got to make a joke like this.
Very positive, very positive. Maybe too positive. You traveled a lot. What city is the worst to perform comedy?
Oh my God, the worst city to perform comedy. Well, you can always find, like, a ragtag group of English-speaking expats anywhere, I believe.
Just name the worst.
No.
Okay, the second of the worst.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Maybe you don't want to name cities. Name country.
They're not like
the shittiest country to perform comedy.
Well, I think there's a difference between, like, what do you consider shitty? There's, like, areas where comedy is starting. So, like, I was in a city that's a wonderful city where they just got, like, their first English comedy club recently, and it was like, okay, like a little rough around the edges,
little
like
steps.
Yeah, but it was also really exciting to be like, oh, this is, like, people are really putting time and energy into doing English stand-up comedy, and most people doing it are not native English speakers, which is, like, and I just have so much, like, respect, and it's yes, I am extremely positive, and I acknowledge that.
What country was it? With all respect, country. Europe,
I want to get booked.
Africa, Asia.
999.
What was the worst venue you performed at?
Oh my God. Okay, the worst.
I mean, you got too positive in the first part. We need to balance it somehow.
Bring it back down.
We are not.
So probably the worst venue I was in was like a bar. It was here, and it was someone had booked a bar for like a month, to try shows, and it was like the bar jutted out around, and like comedians were over here, and then there were just booths, and so it was like people couldn't figure out if they were talking, if they were watching the comedian. And it was just like it was like screaming over people. I don't think anybody performs at that bar anymore. I don't even remember its name. But it was rough. I did not like it because like when you're standing there like, look at me, I'm doing comedy for you. I'm so funny, haha. And then people are like, what's going on over there? We don't understand. Like you really do. Oh, and I'll bring you down.
Yeah,
I booked.
Go for it.
I was like, I made friends with this woman who had a brand new multi-use venue in Vetting, and they were very excited to like have every type of art there, and so they and I said, hey, I do comedy, I'll book a show. And so she was like, how about we book a show for everybody who works here on one of the opening nights? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's gonna be amazing. And so I got some comedians to come, and then it turns out everybody had brought their families, so I had like 10-year-olds in the front row, and then I had comics who definitely are not doing 10-year-old appropriate jokes. And so it was like, what are we gonna do? Like, I'm gonna stand up here and make a joke about like blowjobs? No, like there's a 10-year-old right there. Like
they have an idea.
So that was really.
I mean, that's why this is the reason why we put sexual education in schools.
Yeah,
they should have an idea.
So that was rough, and I felt really bad for the comics that I booked that night because I was like, sorry, you can't do any of your material, and everybody was just doing like shitty crowd work, and I was like, I did this to myself. That was the first and last time I went and found a new venue.
I'm sorry, but it was your fault. 100%.
And I learned my lesson. Now I just go go to other people's venues when they invite me. That's what I do now.
What is your best advice for both new comedians and new opera singers?
Oh gosh, okay. If you are a new comedian, you just got to do as many mics as possible. You got to be gigging all the time, and like you're going to do 5-minute sets, and you're going to be very bad, and you have to be very bad for a long time.
It's not an advice, it's
And
just
then-
a wisdom.
Yes, well, yeah. So my advice would be sign up for everything.
Yeah.
Do everything.
Yeah.
And just because the more you do it, the better you will get. I mean, comedy is a long game in that it doesn't matter how good you might be coming out of the gate. You will always be better in a year.
Sure, too positive. And for new opera singers?
Make sure that you have a voice teacher that you can trust,
Yeah.
a voice teacher who makes you feel safe so that you can grow. And also don't be afraid if your voice teacher, your coach, your university is not fostering the best artist that you can be. Don't be afraid to change. And also you should definitely prepare to have a parallel career, because of all the opera singers that I know who are working full time in Berlin. It's fine, but it's not necessarily it's hard to raise a family without a double income.
I hope it will be a bit relatable for comedians, but it's not. I'm sorry, we cut it. Please name a few European comedians you like.
Oh my gosh. Okay. European comedians I like. Michelle Wolf is American, but she lives in Europe. Does that count?
Sure.
So European, people that I know.
Yeah, anybody we can tag and promote this video.
Yeah. I've done Fringe 2 years in a row, and my favorite show at Fringe both years has been from Olga Koch, who is Russian.
Yeah.
But she mostly gigs in the UK, I think, and I fucking love her. And then as far as here in Berlin, there is one joke that is my favorite joke that I've ever heard, and I'm not going to tell it to you, but it's by Carmen Chlem, and you should just go find her and go see her do a show. And I tell her this all the time. I'm always like, oh my God, do my favorite joke tonight. She probably gets annoyed, but it's literally my favorite joke that I've ever heard in my life, and you got to go see Carmen if you want to hear the joke. Yeah.
Okay, if you can steal one joke from another comedian
No!
and it will be yours for the rest of the time, what will you choose?
No, I'm not. No.
One joke.
No.
One joke. It will be yours.
I'm not going to tell you another person's joke. No, you have to go see them.
She has some. she just don't want to tell us.
I mean, that's the thing. You have to surround yourself by people who are better than you. You have to. I have to be
And
jealous.
steal jokes.
Yeah. Well, no. But ew, no. But you have to be jealous in order to be better.
Yeah,
You have to be like, God damn, that's brilliant. What did they do? How did they think of that? How did they come up with that? In order to be better at what you're doing. That is the only way you will get better, is if you are surrounded by people who make you want to put the gas on. Yeah.
Do you know what I like about you? You don't want to steal jokes even in humorous context. You don't want to steal jokes even as a joke. I want to
Yeah.
be friends with you.
Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, also because I do very specific, I do stand-up comedy about being an American opera singer. I'm never really afraid of people stealing my jokes.
Can you do an example of your opera voice?
I tell people that I do opera, and there's usually this moment of silence where people are like, "You do what?" And then of course the fun thing is that I then sing a little bit for the crowd, and usually I do the beginning of Pace Pace mio Dio from La Forza del Destino by Verdi, and it goes, "In van la pace," sorry, "In van la pace." So that's
Incredible.
unwarmed up, but
Which is more incredible when you did it the first time. I've heard an error. Yeah.
Yes.
I know the difference.
But it's really fun. I don't know. I love.
You fucked up a lot.
Yeah. Yes. If that's what we're going for. Fucked up.
No. You are great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was fantastic comedians of Europe. Please subscribe to Steph and subscribe to us. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
I'm sorry, I'm not more negative.
No.
I'm incapable of being cynical.
I believe it is an American.
Yeah.
It is just being
Oh, yeah.
American.
Yep.
I mean, you have this.
We're gonna find a way.
Yeah. You have positive inside of you. I mean.